Big Paul. Here we are with another episode of Going Over. We keep pumping these things out. I'm having a blast doing this, man. It's really helping me. The feedback is it's helping everyone else. And if you don't know who I am, I'm Zack, Primetime Reeb, your neighborhood-friendly coach, trainer, promoter, 43-year-old professional wrestler, and podcaster. And speaking of podcasts, I am joined alongside, as always, didn't get that one right ever. I'm going the opposite way. My podcast partner, the 7-foot wrecking ball, Paul Isadora. And Paul, how are you doing at a very early 8 a.m. here on Going Over?
I'm doing good, man. Just, coming off the heels of just watching our match breakdown of the match that you and I had together. It was just like, I just had to call you up and say, hey, man, I just watched that one, and I think we got to do another podcast. We gotta jump right back in, and we gotta do it again, man. And I was just mentioning to old Randy Hawkdurfer last night that we're not getting anybody to send us matches, man. And I said it has to be. I thought it was just one of two things, but then something else creeped in my head, right? So I thought it was one of two things. You have people that don't want realistic criticism on their matches, which I think, it's probably one of those, maybe you're nervous, you don't want someone to tear your match apart, which I think we've tried to make that clear. That's not what we're trying to do. We don't want to tear someone's match apart. We do want to make matches better. So, that could be one factor. Another factor could be, which is what I hope it isn't. Hope it's not people think that they don't need to get better, right? I hope it's not that. I hope it's people don't think that they don't need to get better. And my real big fear is that people just don't give a shit, right? They're just, yeah. I'm a pro wrestler. I'm just doing this on the weekends, and I don't give a shit about getting better. That's my biggest fear is that creeps in. So hopefully, obviously you're doing prospects. This is an opportunity that I feel like you're giving to some of the younger, maybe not always younger, but maybe more inexperienced wrestlers kind of in our scene, West Coast, and giving them the opportunity to come in and get coached up kind of on the spot, right? Cutting promos, and you're putting in some time with them with cutting promos, trying to get them to get better at that. Multiple takes. Hey, this is what I'm looking for. Hey, what you did right there was good. Give me more of this. So I think all of those things are a great opportunity. And then, getting the feedback via the live commentary, that you and Doc are doing, is going to be, I think, more of your realistic reaction to the match. So when they watch it back, within a couple weeks, you guys are going to put that stuff up pretty quick. Then they're going to kind of hear your inflection, things that you're seeing in the matches. And then, of course, after the show's over, you're going to take these guys aside individually and kind of give them the breakdown of what they're doing, what you think they did well, things that they can work on. So, with this big opportunity, obviously we're having some opportunity to go back and look at the video of these matches. So I think that's a great thing for us to do today is jump right in, man. Let's grab one of those matches. And let's do some critiques on it. What do you think?
I think that just a touch real quick before we get started. That looks so delicious. I'd like to know the ingredients that was applied in between that beautiful flour tortilla as you're eating that.
Right. It's simplistic. It's
Yeah.
really simplistic.
What
This
is
is
it?
our we meal prep every Sunday. So it's just egg, bacon, sausage, and hash browns.
The 4th speed? You add
And then
gravy to that, you got the 5 speed.
and then we're putting the 5 speed on it with a little touch of cheese.
Oh, there you go. You
Melt
got
it
the
right
5.
into
I used to buy
the
those off the
scrambled
Roach
eggs.
Coach, the old Roach Coach. Well, just to touch real quick before we get started, you said that your fear is, maybe people don't want the criticism. Of course they don't want the criticism. Who wants criticism? Nobody wants negativity in their eyes, and nobody wants criticism. That's fine. The people that do want the criticism, they get better, and that's been going on for many, many years. You said maybe they don't give a shit. Yeah, that's obvious. A lot of people don't give a shit. A lot of people just want to get out there on the weekend and they want to put their tights on or whatever they're wearing and they want to do their thing and they want someone to come back and say, man, that was great. Well, there's a difference between good and great. There's a difference that makes somebody good and great. Great is the criticism. Great is showing up 3 to 4 times a week and training and going to the gym and eating healthy. I was watching what's his name? He's the champ of NXT. Trick Williams, whoop that trick. And somebody had asked him, and it was just like a short reel from a podcast, and they said, how is it now that you're the champion? And he said, man, it's 7 days a week. He's saying the couple of days that they actually work, how many days he's training in the performance center with CM Punk too. And he's talking about you got to eat right. You got to go to the gym. This is an investment in you. I was talking to John after the last prospect show, and he's like, man, too many guys in gym shorts, whether they got their own name, too many guys in gym shorts with singlets. The bodies aren't good. And I had mentioned, since we're talking about this match right here, I said, well, these guys work their ass off and have lost a lot of weight, but they don't have great bodies. And he said, yeah, but there's a difference. There's a difference in what you're wearing and what you're doing out there. And we're getting ready for this match breakdown. And it's Christian Skye and Brandon Nash. I think Lunacy was not on the card because I don't think she made it there in time, which she still showed up with a long drive and some terrible weather, and the dedication factor is always there. So these guys are making their debut with this new character on Prospects, and they are taking on our former ring announcer Zach Bay and our former commentary Wild Buck James. And from my general look at this match, which is the one I picked for you to load up so we can watch, is we're talking to Adam. These are two guys that just kept it simple. They technically they went over their time, but you can't get mad at somebody if the audience is participating, making noise, and wanting to watch. So let's delve in to this action. This tag team even gets off and running.
Well, you got a ring announcer and a commentary guy.
And we are underway historically with the first match here in Friday Night Prospects history. And listen to these people.
This is not the first match, Zachary. Put another dollar in the Dr. Haywood strike jar. We had a whole slew of matches last week.
Here we go, collar and elbow tie-up.
But James definitely got the weight advantage. But Christian Skye, very powerful despite his slight frame. Very cut, very athletic.
Christian Skye is now, Manny Roa told him he's the new level. Christian Skye, we saw a couple phone calls.
You're at the level.
The level.
Not the new level. The new level's gone. Now there's only the unwanted, it seems.
Skye uses momentum to turn Buck James into the corner. Christian Skye leaving that weight on. Referee Ramon
Cortine.
So let's just take a little stop right there.
First prospect shows. Got his feet wet. The referee.
Look, Christian just hail into the ground down there. Hello, hail to the ground. Where's my man on controls over? There he is. There's my man.
Here he is.
So just
early
quick,
in the morning, obviously.
Yeah.
Try to find out where the buttons are.
Well, just quickly for me, and then I'm gonna let you take over on this. I just want to say something real quick. Just your simple, even though they're taking on a couple new guys, they got Buck's bigger, and Buck pushes him back to the corner and clean breaks him. And then they lock up again. They move around and cautiously lock up again. And Buck starts to move him back. And Christian uses, we even say it on commentary, uses his the momentum of the bigger guy to turn him back into the corner. Skye kind of gave him a clean break. I feel like at that moment, slap him in the face, shove his head, something. So if I was to tell those guys anything different, I'd say do something a little heelish right there, because now you have changed the momentum of the bigger baby face.
Sure. And I might even argue the opposite of that, because I saw, like, as Christian's got him in the corner, Buck is not, doesn't relax, right? He has his hands up. He's protecting himself, right?
Mhm.
So I think, like, maybe that's preventing Christian from seeing an opening where he can, see a guy that, like, you get pushed in the corner, the guy starts giving you a clean break, and then you relax your hands going, okay, it's going to be a clean break, and then you get caught with something cheap right there. So I thought Buck did a good job keeping his hands up, protecting himself, like being in a position to defend himself. So
And
I
you're
could
right.
see.
I take back what I just said a few seconds ago. You're absolutely right. Buck had his, and that's rare for me, honestly. Even though it's a guy that I've coached, it's rare for me to see somebody in the corner, especially in their first match, protecting themselves. And if you look at Buck's face when he comes out of the corner, now that you're talking about that point, he looks very intense, like he's ready to fight. He doesn't look like a guy who's just ready to go to whatever the next thing we've got lined up is. He looks like he's emotionally telling the fans, I'm here to fight. So excellent point, Paul. Excellent point.
Right.
We're back at it.
Let's get over there.
Swing and a miss by Buck James.
Wild Buck James takes it top. Welcome to PCW. Wild Buck James. Christian Skye with the side headlock, and he's going to sit on that thing for a little bit, well in control. Oh! Wild Buck James keeping that headlock on. Christian unable to move Wild Buck James. Here we go. Oh, big tackle by Wild Buck James, and the debut of the Unwanted not going as planned, Doc.
Well, we'll
So
see.
let's stop her right there.
Christian Skye has plenty of experience.
I'm glad that extended a little bit to him going over the camera right there. So that's just classic right there. I mean, Skye gave him a couple chops, and Buck sold the chops. He sold those chops, and just simple chops. It's the first contest, and he worked his way back in. Skye grabbed a wrestling hold. He grabbed a side headlock. Buck was not panicking in that headlock. He was not in a hurry to try to shoot this guy off, and he shot him off. And Skye didn't get obviously didn't tackle Buck because Buck's a lot bigger than him. And then Buck ended up with the headlock, and he ended up knocking Skye down. Skye sells the headlock on the ground in the corner in frustration, and comes over to the camera to give us a little bit of that money shot. But the thing you were talking about, and you talked to me the other day because you logged this one up, is, and I see Randy Orton do it. I see Chris Jericho. I see a lot of top guys do it, and it's just lazy. Buck is getting pushed back against the rope to get fired off across 18 feet across the wrestling ring, and he's got the headlock, and he lets go of the headlock to put his arm on the rope instead of holding on to that headlock, and when he gets fired off, then reaching out to grab that other rope. But so far right now, so good. What's your thoughts on what that little sequence you just saw?
Yeah, so something that kind of irks me sometimes is a guy that if a guy's got you in a side headlock, you shouldn't just be able to shove him off of your head, right? So I always look for things. What makes me loosen my grip on my headlock enough where a guy could shoot me off, right? So the two things that I saw, from both perspectives here, you have Buck gives Christian a tight waist, right? Squeezes him real tight. And so I see that as a reason that Christian's like, oh shit, like that hurts. That maybe makes me loosen my grip on the headlock. So that makes it realistic to me that why he could shoot him off of his head without any, normally you got people, pull the hair, forearm and the ribs, whatever. You're trying to loosen the grip on that guy's headlock to give you the opportunity to shoot him off. And then I think on the other side, what did Christian do to when he was going to shoot Buck off right there? What was I'm trying to think of what he did to kind of loosen the grip there.
He just backed him up. Buck loosened his own grip.
Okay, so I wasn't sure if it was like, pushed up or whatever, but trying to, and I think obviously you talked about the thing that irritates me is like letting go of the hold to grab onto the ropes, right? So I think there should be some reason that you are loosening your grip on the headlock in order for a guy to shoot you off like that. So, but I thought, all the good points there. Give a reason for a guy to loosen up a hold if you're going to shoot him off like that.
Well, the headlock has become just a vehicle to go to a spot. We're going to drop down. We're not going to try to trip the guy. We're just going to drop down. They call it the old international spot. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Do a little leapfrog too. I'll run under it. Guys aren't stopping underneath or maybe catching the guy in an atomic drop or something. It's just it's really repetitive what we're seeing out here right now with the wrestling. The wrestling's kind of gone by the wayside unless you get some real good amateur wrestlers in there that'll do a little bit of wrestling. But in this case right here, they're taking their time, but also my coach is real big on like that shot or turning them and firing them into the closest rope. And everything is like a impactful, quick, just a sudden thing. That tackle should be a sudden thing that knocks that guy over. He's getting knocked into the ground hard. And when we grab that headlock, everyone, like I said, is using it as a vehicle to get to a quick little spot, opposed to saying, okay, let's think about the size and the disadvantage of the guy who has it and the guy who's in it, and let's make a realistic fight and a struggle to get out of this. So early on, let's put a couple minutes into working this headlock and building up to that first big bump instead of just giving them that big bump to rush that first bump. You know what I mean? So excellent point. Again, you're on your money today, bro. I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble today. Here we go. Look at Brandon. Look at toxic Brandon over there.
And he knows how to manage a match. Just give him time. He's getting a feel for these new competitors. I'm sure they're all full of piss and vinegar making their debut. But Buck's going to find out that, unlike Dr. Haywood, Christian Skye will hit back. That's what Brandon Nash, speaking of, big kick to the gut right there.
Skye done wrestling, in control of Buck with a handful of hair. Wild Buck James in no man's land over here, and he's now gonna eat a buckle. Those things hurt. There's a turnbuckle behind those, barely covered by. Ooh!
Toxic Brandon Nash taking the tag and a work over Wild
Tag in. He's all over him. He's all over him. Come on, referee. That's the problem. Inexperienced referee Ramon Cortzine. Buck's foot's under the rope as Brandon Nash is delivering this beatdown, and now they got him trapped in the corner.
Oh, I've never been more entertained in the match in a long
Come on, ref. Come on, ref. Enforce those rules in the corner. Buck fired back in that corner. Buck hit that rope over there. He missed the padding on that one.
Well, it may be lucky because, underneath that padding is an iron eye bolt.
Skye over here working the audience and really getting them riled up. Buck James on the ground. Look at Brandon Nash taunting him as Wild Buck James is getting a beat down.
Zach Bay desperately hoping for a
So let's pause that right there.
But Buck James is experienced.
Let's take a little let's take a little breather. We got a little bit to digest here, which I like. What have you seen right there, Paul?
Okay, so I think obviously they're cutting off the ring, right? So we talked about that with Adam. Like, this is my triangle of the ring for my team is on this half. So they're doing a pretty good job of cutting off the ring. I thought when Brandon Nash first came into the ring, he turned up the intensity. So you can look at that as a positive or a negative. Turn up the intensity. Obviously, you want to beat the guy up. I normally like to save that for a time where the guy's fighting back a little bit. Then you turn up the intensity a little bit and you beat him up a little bit harder. So that was all good. I thought Christian putting him into the corner and holding him while he tags in his partner, right? So there's no opportunity for the guy to escape and roll to his corner to get a tag himself. So I like that. And then the one critique that I would have is Brandon Nash is whipping him like almost into the middle and then back into his own rope, right? So, or into his own corner. I would maybe argue that if I see a bigger guy getting ready to get whipped by a smaller guy, I'm like, this guy better reverse this, right? Because it doesn't make sense for me that a small guy is going to be able to whip a bigger guy. So I don't know what your opinion on that is, considering it's just a short whip to the corner. Should the smaller guy be able to have the power to not only stop the guy's momentum in the center, but to also whip him back into the corner?
It was a bad corner hit by Buck regardless. He sold the shit out of it, which he's doing a great job of selling right now. I like the fact that Brandon Nash came in with such intensity because that's the role of the team he's playing right now. He is playing the over-aggressive, intense guy, and it's allowing Christian Skye to really slow down and milk up, which is something that he's over there milking the crowd, and they're yelling, "Christian sucks." Nash has come in. He's really intense. He's screaming at the referee. I agree with you 100%. There's a spot there. There's a spot there that we're not seeing. And that's where Nash goes to whip him out, and Buck reverses that and now whips Brandon over to his corner. And then Brandon Nash stops Buck James and then turns and fires off on Zach Bay on the corner. And Buck starts to sell over that way. It lures Bay in. And then now they can start to put down an even bigger double beatdown on the guy while Zach Bay is pissed off trying to get in the ring after registering that punch. So I feel like that could have been a cause right there. That could have been another opportunity to start a double team in the corner and never whip him over there. Or as we were talking about with Adam, use that neutral rope. Use that neutral corner. You can work the guy down and have him go into a neutral corner so you never cross that plane from corner to corner. You're using that invisible line to get to your next spot, or you're using that rope over there away from his partner to do something you're doing. But for what they're doing right now, I'm very impressed with where these young guys are going in their first contests.
All right, I'm going to add something else that just popped into my head. So when you're working him in the corner, this is something that I remember from years ago. I was getting ready to go work extra work for WWE, and I had Drake Nelson and Tom Bocci. I had them give me a video of a match that I had recently. And so I had them give me this match, and I'm watching this thing on the car ride to the venue on my little mini DVD portable DVD player, and I saw myself in the corner getting heat and just reaching out and holding onto the ropes. Right, I'm not defending myself from getting those shoulders in the gut. I'm just have my hands on the ropes, and literally, I think I was just at a some sort of camp. I don't know where it was, but they were talking about how WWE does not like that. You're not protecting yourself. If a guy's giving you a shoulder in the gut, you should be trying to push them out of that area, trying to defend yourself. maybe you drape yourself over the top of the guy. You put all your weight on top of him because he just shouldered you in the gut, and that's the result of that. So I would definitely warn guys away from, if somebody's putting heat on you in the corner, you shouldn't have both hands on the ropes, just letting them beat you up. So that'd be one other thing that I saw in there as well.
So far, what I like, I'm mind all the little detail we're throwing out there, is that these guys are taking their time.
Yep.
No matter what's going on, they're taking their time. You're in there with a couple young guys for the first time. They're not the most athletic guys. They're doing a good job of selling, but take your time. You'll find where you need to go, and you'll let the audience dictate what's next if you just slow the fuck down. And they're doing a good job of that. So they're getting a B+ right now for and that's a good grade for your first match, especially a tag team match, because we talked about it. Tag team wrestling is these two guys just actually happen to be good friends from the same town. That's why they're together. But for your very first one, they're doing what you're supposed to be doing, just very basic, very simple.
Right.
And there he is, Toxic Brandon.
Inexperience
They
starting
want
to
this.
show. Got to give him points for tenacity, though.
Wild
He's
Buck
right
fighting
there.
back, Doc. Wild Buck James starting to fight back. Nash, he's got it. He's got to make the tag. Oh, no, thank you. No, thank Babe. A pie face off to the. Here comes Babe trying to draw in.
Well, they made a better move there. He thought about getting in, thought better of it, stayed out. He could have drawn the referee off, which would have made Buck James be in
So
even
let's
more
stop
trouble.
that right there.
Right now, the Unwanted in this debut.
Just a real quick one. Just a real quick one, real quick as we transfer over. Sorry, everybody. And this is the inexperienced referee Ramon. This is his first contest. He's obviously very nervous. And Brandon had hit Zach Bay, and Zach Bay tries to come in the ring, and the referee is very inexperienced, obviously, which he's gotten better since, but he doesn't go over there to stop the babyface. So it kills an entire situation for the heels to get some heat. Buck is fighting back. Like Buck fought back and was throwing them forearms really slow from underneath, which I always tell, which I'm very proud of him for that, because I always say no matter what the size of the heel is, you always want to be down working your way up so the heel looks more menacing. So he's firing back, and then he does something that we talk about a lot. He starts throwing consistent forearms to get out of the situation. And what does he do? He falls down in fatigue to sell. So that last burst where he starts, that last burst where he starts firing those 5-6 straight forearms, he doesn't just get up to his feet and try to start that he starts offensively selling that so that Brandon Nash can get back on top of him, which Nash turns and hits him. So Zach Bay did a very good job of trying to get in the ring with intensity as the babyface and realizing the referee is not hip to he's coming in because he's so young and inexperienced. So he didn't come all the way in. He stopped himself.
Right.
Which
and then I think Doc did a good job covering it on commentary as well. Just going, he realized that if he came into the ring, he was going to draw the referee, and that was going to give the other team an opportunity to double team. So I thought it was a good cover on commentary as well. So
very good cover on commentary.
Isolating Wild Buck James.
Toxic Brandon Nash lets his opinion be known. Oh!
Hard shot to the back. The Unwanted right now is just toying with Buck James and Zach Bay.
Absolutely. This is where the deficiencies in
Hard stomp. Watch this. Knocks the wind out of Buck James. And right now I'm going to tell you this. I don't see him I don't see Buck James making that tag. As much as I'm getting behind him in this audience, I don't see him making that tag.
Buck James just tanked, as I was going to say. The drawback in his training is Buck needs way more cardio to compete with a guy like Christian Skye or Brandon Nash. He is tanked and in pain, and he deserves it.
There you go again. Here it is. Check us out as Buck James is on the mat. PCWNorcal.com. You can go to all the shows, all the sites. We're going to be live, and this audience starting to get behind him.
Now here's some ring general.
Oh,
like
Nash
Christian
behind the
Skye.
back. Behind the back, Brandon Nash. As they've isolated this ring, as Zach Bay hasn't even gotten in the ring. This kid's making his debut here tonight, and he hasn't even gotten in the ring. He's taking more action on the outside than he has on the inside, Doc.
Yes, he has, and that is a testament to the skill of the Unwanted with the ring general like Christian Skye cutting off the ring, using the ring itself as a weapon, and then Brandon Nash just so toxic and mean.
So pause
There's
this
that
real
sleeper
quick
hold by
right here.
Nash. This is put.
So pause this bad boy real quick right here. So some slick stuff there by the heels, but I just wanted to point out real quick to young guys out there, there's not a whole lot going on right here. And the crowd is now actually starting to, Buck's not stomping his hands on the mat. He's not stomping his feet. There's no begging and pandering for the audience to get behind him. Commentary is getting a story over right now. Brandon Nash and Christian Skye are not doing anything. Brandon's walking around the ring just kind of with the moth on his chest, really starting to breathe to the audience, but they're doing nothing right now. And it's okay because we're beating down the hero. The villains are building the heat. We're building the audience to want to get behind this sympathetic babyface who's getting his ass kicked right now. And Buck is selling, and he's not dying, and he's got the fans behind him. And right now we're in a sleep. What do you think right now? I mean, there's nothing really going on in this last minute and a half, but I feel like there's so much going on for the crowd to really jump into in the commentary to really tell us. I mean, shit, I even plugged the website in the middle of this.
Exactly. So yeah, I think you had potentially a missed opportunity you could have had like a little bit of a double team there to maybe even increase the heat that you're getting beating up the babyface. But it was kind of like Bay was kind of 1 foot in and the ref was over there and maybe as a heel you don't really know like how long he's going to be able to keep the referee's attention. Do I have enough time to come in and get a quick, double team in on him real quick there? So, it's kind of, you play the odds maybe. The referee's not going to be distracted long enough for me to get in there and sneak some extra shots in where the crowd is just, upset that you're cheating more.
Well, that's why I always say the situational stuff to these guys, because it's like that guy, that baby face, the good guy coming in the ring, he's not just coming in the ring to get stopped by the ref and be like, come on, ref. He's now got to come in and spin around and look at the audience and be like, come on, guys, this is bullshit. They see it. What's wrong? Like, you got to really, you're not just arguing with the ref. You're trying to get your point across, and then you're trying to look over at these people and not just tell the ref, hey, they're seeing it. Why can't you? And the fans are now going, yeah, we do see it. Hey, ref. And the ref's looking around like, maybe I got to watch a little closer. But there's more to just coming in the ring than that. Like, you have to, Zach's coming in the ring and he's really trying to tell the referee. Now he's got to turn to the audience. This is another part of crowd participation, because you're not just getting the sympathy on the guy getting beat up. The guy on the apron is garnering sympathy for himself and you too. Like, come on, guys. This is going on behind your back. Pay attention, ref. Listen to these people. And when the ref turns to these people and they now get involved, there's so much that the audience can participate in trying to tell the ref, like, yeah, he is cheating, ref. He is cheating while the cheating's going on behind his back, which makes it even better.
Right.
Angel Escobar to sleep.
Oh, stunner!
Oh, Wild Buck James. He's got an opportunity. Opportunity. There's a tag. And here comes that Bay. Oh, no. Bay. Oh, hard forearm shot. Bay smashes him in the corner. Zach Bay has got these people on their feet.
Oh my goodness!
Big body slam by Zach Bay.
He effortlessly picked up toxic Brandon Nash and just slammed him on the ground. My
Brandon
goodness!
Nash is on pins and needles right now. Oh, taking up high. Zach Bay, what's this going to be?
Fireman's carry, no.
Pulled him down. Oh, hard shot by Christian Skye. He's had enough. Zach Bay had his moment right there. Hard buckle into the corner as the Unwanted is back in control. There's Nash. Tag in by Skye. They're really starting to work well as a team. Oh, here it is, ladies and gentlemen. And curb stomp on Buck James. I think this one might be over.
And there it is.
All right, let's stop this bad boy.
The winners of this contest, Christian Skye.
So I know Bay almost shock mastered himself. If anybody's ever seen that when he came in, he recovered, and he knew he wasn't in. This is the little things that we're talking about here. He knew he wasn't in the ring ready to get all his action, and the positioning was bad. So what did he do? He clinched him. It's something we always talk about at training. We run off the clinch. We run off the 2-on-1 control. So he knew he wasn't where he needed to be. This is his moment. This is his hot tag. So he clinched him. He put him in position into the center of the ring where he wanted him. He gave him the shot. And then here comes the next guy. He gives him a bump. So he's getting a smaller hot tag. He's not getting the big one. So he bumps Christian, I believe, and he fires up. And in him firing up and working the audience and really milking that, it gives Brandon a chance to get up. It gives him a chance to hit a big body slam. And he's using the delay of all this with intensity and fire to keep that hot tag where it needs to be. And then he hit a nice splash in the corner, and he's picking up some speed. He puts the guy on the shoulder. The other guy comes in. What I liked about the end is they put him away, and that's your first match, so you're not going to get a whole lot. But the curb stomp happens, and Buck is over there selling because he got the rope kicked into his nuts, which becomes he's selling the shit out of his nuts, which I love. And then he kind of looks over when the threes happen and turns over and kind of makes a last-ditch effort to reach for his partner to maybe try to make a save. So I'm very impressed. Of course, there's a lot that needs to be worked on, but that was not a bad little, like, hey, here's how, if you're new in the business and you've gotten an opportunity by the promoter or whoever to go out there and put a team over and have a little tag match, and the team's going to give you some stuff too to not make you look like just a beat up team. But I thought they did I think that's a very good, like, okay, here's a basic layout of how to do a basic, heel versus good guy tag match where you're getting these guys over and you guys are going to get a little bit yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I would obviously, you like to see the hot tag a little bit more quick pace, but as you just gotta, if you stumble on your way in, you gotta make the adaptation. And I definitely like just the subtle, he's got him up on his shoulders and the partner just kind of pulls his partner off of his shoulders. And so I like the subtle, like, little cutoff where, this needs to go straight into the finish here. So, and then obviously the guy tried to get into the ring and kicked a rope into his nuts. Like, we've talked about how, like, that should be a much bigger thing than a lot of people make it seem. Getting a cable rope, kicked into your nuts. That you mentioned on, I don't remember what episode, but like that could be your demise right there. You get the rope kicked in your nuts, you can't come back from that at some point. So I like the
That
fact
was
that
the demise.
yeah, right. That's and I like the fact that he was like selling down from that, and then he went to like, I'm gonna try to make the save there, but then he just went right back to selling his nuts. So, so I think it's just good. I mean, you talked about um, how you like the way that Buck sells his ass off, and I think this match is a testament to that. Um, just how well he sells, and it's the little things that he's selling. You talked about the fighting back from underneath, and then offensively selling afterwards. I think too many people get into that Superman mode, right? It's my turn to give the offense, so now I just forget that I was getting my ass kicked before this. So um I don't know. Like, I think if you put it into the video game mode, right, your energy bar has been worked down so much that you shouldn't be able to just come right back to 100% strength. You're still hurt. So I definitely like the way that he did that. And I don't know. I keep using the word subtle, but I think it's all these little subtleties of, we talked about cutting off the ring, that imaginary line that you're keeping your opponent in your corner, and when you go to the other side of the ring, it's to antagonize them, right? Spit in their face, knock them off the apron, punch them in the face, whatever. Try to antagonize to come into the rings to give you an opportunity to double team as the heel team. So a lot of great things. Good.
Oh, sorry, brother. When they get out of position like that, when they cross that imaginary line corner to corner, that's it's the baby face selling's fault, because he's selling, so he should know I need to keep, no matter what I get hit with or shot or whatever, I need to keep myself across this plane, and then I can start crawling over to that tag. So, that's the inexperience too, is why did I take this, and why am I over this imaginary line? Because you're selling, so you're going to eventually crawl to the corner. And there's no false tags or double hots in this one. This is just your basic tag match. But it's something, whether you're at class and you want to throw guys out there for 4 or 5 minutes and say, all right, you guys try to be the heroes and you guys try to be the villains, and let's just see if you can cut the ring off and sell for this guy. Buck needs to hit those corners harder, and they just had another match against the dudes, and Bay started this one out, and for like 5 or 6 minutes, I'm like worried about this kid's cardio. Not at all, man. He's just taking hard buckles and selling them down, and he's fighting back. So what you have in this team right here is you have two very inexperienced guys, but you have two very inexperienced guys that have both already proven that they can sell, and they're not in a hurry. I mean, whether you want to talk about the cardio or whatever, wrestling's about breathing in the ring and giving the guys a chance to breathe. I mean, if you went back and watched Ric Flair back in the day against Dusty Rhodes, there was some times that Flair just had Dusty throw him outside or over the top rope, and Flair's selling like $1 million out there. And it's not nothing they're doing just to do it. They're doing that because Dusty needs to catch his breath. Dusty's not, you know what I mean? Dusty's not running marathons out here, man. So it's knowing when, okay, I need to sell a little bit. I was wrestling with Christian down there, and like I said, the elevation change and smoking and all this stuff. I'm gassed a little bit being in the ring, working with these guys, and I'm on the apron, and Christian's been doing this a while, and I love teaming with him, but it's time where he's working the guy and I'm walking up and down the apron trying to catch my wind. And it's like, work a little longer, man. I got to catch my breath. You know what I mean? Like, throw me outside. I'm going to breathe on the outside and sell out here a little bit because I got to catch my breath. And sometimes we need to catch our breath. And just like I was saying, Buck hitting the corners was a little soft. which is something that we've already we've worked on and drilled that. But the corners were a little soft, and Buck letting go of the headlock to come off the rope. But I mean, other than that, just a good, like, standard basic format of, yes, guys, selling. The babyface selling and building to his comeback. That's what's going to get the audience behind this stuff, man. That's it. That's it.
Absolutely. I think this is also a good selling point for in many cases you want to have the veteran as the heel, right? Controlling the pace of the match as the more experienced team. So you know, I don't know. I think everyone wants to be the villain, right? Everybody wants to get to that point where they can be the villain and they can be, talking trash to the fans. And a lot of people say it's a lot easier to be the heel, right? Because things don't have to be clean, right? If you mess up on something, you trip on the way into the ring, you do something like that. That's what's supposed to happen, right? You're supposed to look like an ass. And the fans are supposed to be able to give you shit about things, right? So getting to that point where you can be a good heel because you're able to control the pace of the match, I think is kind of a lot of people's goal, right? You want to try to get to that stage where you can kind of be the ring general, and I think this match is a good example of that. How you have the more experienced guys controlling the pace of the match and staying in control, but you definitely can't undersell the fact of how well the baby faces were selling. So
It creates
I think it's what's that?
The selling creates opportunities for some offense.
Of course.
If you're really selling, and a lot of guys don't realize that because they're so concerned about, okay, let's do this spot. Let's do what we have planned out, and they're dictating. So for you young guys, you think you putting your match together in the locker room, you think that you're predicting. You're like, oh, I'm rubbing on this crystal ball right here, and it's showing. I know how the fans are going to react to everything I'm doing, and you structure this match together, and you get out there and you realize, oh, I'm just doing my match now. It's good to have the idea of what you want to do, and there's nothing wrong with that. Because first we learn how to work. I heard Vince DeMarco say it yesterday. First we learn how to work so we can choreograph. And I heard that yesterday, and I was like, fuck, man, because you forget DeMarco was trained at APW. He was trained by James Watkins. He was trained by the Bomb, Robert Thompson, and he was trained by the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson. So, like, man, that's a pretty good cast of guys that are your coach, and he's a real serious. I used to always have Vince and Chris Corleone open my show as the Mafia because I knew they weren't going to do too much, and I knew they were going to just they were just going to just eat that heat up out there, and they were going to get a couple baby faces over in the process. So win-win for everybody, including the audience. And that's what I'm talking about. When he said that, he said, we learn how to work first so we can choreograph, because it's such a smart thing. If you learn how to work and do this shit, and you learn how to get that ear and listen to these people, then when you start structuring your match, you're structuring, even if there's some choreography going on here, you're structuring what I like to call sequence spots where, okay, I know we want to do this, but now we're listening for the crowd. And then it's like, okay, now is a good time to do what you were talking about doing beforehand. And if it comes a time where that time never comes with the audience, where this sequence or spot that we wanted to plan out and put in works, we don't do it. We do not do it because it doesn't make sense to do it and to do something. But I mean, he said that to me. He said that yesterday, and here I am going on my 26th year of professional wrestling, lifelong fan, and I've heard a lot of shit, but I never heard anybody say, we learn to work so we can choreograph. And I was like, holy shit, man. Like, my eyes lit up, and I was sitting there and I was like, that was That needs to be on a fucking quote book or a T-shirt or something like Minister Mark. We learn to work so we can choreograph, and it's actually just such a powerful statement. Like everybody's trying to choreograph. If you're trying to choreograph a match before you know how to work a match, whether it's a squash match, which there's that word again, that you're not ready to be out there. You're not ready to be out there. So it's like the choreography does not come first. The learning how to work comes first. And as you get better at that, that's when we can start to talk a little bit more because we have a better understanding of what this audience thinks. To think that we know how the audience is going to react to our moves and what we have planned out is just completely asinine, man. It's like, no, that's not the way it's. If you don't know, you don't know. So don't try to choreograph thinking like, well, I saw this work on TV, or I know the crowd's going to react to this. Let's be a different crowd that night. What do you think of all that, Paul?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think about so many situations where you hear people say, "Oh, hey, man, we forgot to do that sequence that we were going to do," or whatever. And like you're talking about, like, hey, yeah, we talked about doing that sequence, but there wasn't a good spot for it to go in there, so we left it out, right? Because there wasn't the situation where the audience was ready for that. So I think that speaks volumes, man. That just that quote, like, just makes me think about wrestling in a totally different way, right? You gotta be able to understand the crowd might react to something because you've heard that before, you've experienced the crowd, reacting to something like that. So you say, hey, if it gets the type of reaction that I think it might get, then we can go into, this other sequence might work as well. So yeah, so that's awesome, man. Just hearing that just opens my mind up to a little bit more, right? You gotta be able to listen to that crowd. You got to be able to know, like, this is a good opportunity to slip something in. So but that's awesome. I didn't think, we say this, I feel like every episode, but how long was that match that we just watched?
God, 8. I think from bell to bell, maybe like 8 or 9 minutes, maybe less.
Right. And so somehow we've figured our way into talking an extra, 45 minutes or so on top of that, just critiquing and breaking down and, and getting a little bit of impact and criticism, constructive criticism. So, man, it's always cool when we get to this spot where we've got 7 minutes left to get to the hour.
I'm just getting started.
Right, exactly. It's I think it's just one of those deals, man. It frustrates me that we're not getting people to send matches in. And
it don't matter. We got it right here.
Right. Yeah. We have all of these matches now that we can go through and break down. So
warm up, buddy. Like,
right.
We're taking these. This next one we're gonna do. Hello, everybody. Warning. The next one's gonna be two guys that we have no coaching pattern. We're gonna go through this. We got 2 episodes. We're gonna have a third prospects episode by this, and we're just gonna pluck one out of there with a couple random guys. Whether there's whatever happens, we're just gonna put it. We're gonna put 5 matches in a hat. And Paul, you're going to put those big hands in there and jiggle them around and pull one out. And by no stretch of the means am I like, oh my God, these guys are amazing. They don't need to train no more. That was great. It was just, they did their job. They sold. They didn't do too much. It was their first match. They got this tag team over. The tag team gave them a little bit. Would I book these 2 guys again? Yes, I would. They did a good job. They listened. They've been working on those little things that we talked about ever since. And that's where it becomes a big part of the booking too, is when we're booking as marks. We're like, this guy's going to be the champion here. And then this show, this guy's going to win the belt from him. And then this is the next guy in line. And we don't realize it's like, do I think you could be the champion? I do. But you got to get over first. So if you go out there and you don't get over with the crowd, and we've had a conversation saying that, yeah, I think you could be the guy to beat this baby face for the championship, and then you don't get over, I can't, whether we talked about it or not, I can't book you to go over down the road because you have not gotten over. So now I'm just putting a belt on somebody just because we talked about putting a belt on someone. I don't know how long this booking's going to last. I don't know. We could have this guy scheduled to be the guy, and this guy could not show up at a show, and this guy could move. And we've seen this situation happen before. And this guy gets moved in this situation, and he gets over. And now we're running with this guy. So I think it's good to have an idea of where you want to go, right? Like we talk on the phone, we talk about your company, we talk about my company, we talk about other companies. Where do we want to go with this? And we get so caught up in like, oh, this is where we want to go, that we start missing what's happening on our own program. We're like, oh shit, well, you had a couple guys that wanted to work a 3-month program and end in a big special stipulation match, and then they went out there, 7 minutes, and they didn't tell the story they were supposed to tell. So where do you go from a situation like that? Well, that's a dud. That's a miss. And me running my company, just because I like you, or just because we live in the same town, or you trained here, you didn't get over what you were supposed to get over. So there's no reason to move forward with this, because it's not going to draw a dick for money. Like now we're just booking like Mark's like, oh, you guys want to have a Falls Count Anywhere match? For what? Why? There's no reason to have a Falls Count Anywhere match. You guys weren't fighting all over the building. There was no rules involved. There wasn't a couple referees that have been trying to contain these matches, and you guys have been in such a flurry to get at each other that, oh, now fuck it. We're going to disband the rules, and you guys just pinfall anywhere, since the ref can't keep order of this thing. So we're going to protect the referee, and you guys can do whatever you want, because it requires that. There's no control from the referee. So the referee's just here to make the 3 count. That's why we're doing the Falls Count Anywhere. And we get there. That's just a prime example of booking. All right, that's the opener. I don't think anybody even went to the top rope in that match.
Nope.
I don't think so. I think the closest somebody went to the top rope was Nash. Had his foot from the outside, had his foot on the middle and the top, staring at the guy in the ring intently. And it's like, they did what they were supposed to do. Besides Buck hitting a couple weak corners, he sold the shit out of the corners. So the after sell was great, but he took a weak corner. So besides a couple weak hits and a few small things, it's the opening contest. Get this shit over. These are these guys' debuts. They've been pumping up a couple We've been pumping up a couple vignette videos for them to build them up. Here they are. Here's these guys. Your job is to go out there and get them over. And in the process, you didn't die. So because you didn't die, and because you did such a good job selling, the crowd got behind you, and the audience and your selling gave Buck opportunities to flail some offense out there and not just be a guy. The crowd created those situations, and you young guys out there, selling for the heel, selling for the villain, creates opportunities for that veteran villain in the ring to go, all right, I'm going to let this guy fight back and get up to his feet, and maybe I'll give him a clothesline or a sunset. Maybe I'm going to give him something that we didn't plan on giving him, because he's done such a good job and the crowd wants to see it. And
Absolutely.
that, my friends, that's going over right there, Big Paul.
Hell yeah. No better way to end it out, man.
Yeah, you got anything? I know you got February 15th coming up.
Yep, February 15th, man. It's coming back, man. We always do the off for December and January to try to help guys that try to get over the hill, right? So yeah, February 15th, man, it's gonna come back. I'm taking some of your advice, man. Going flyer heavy. Obviously we got 14 students, so I think it's a great opportunity to get out there and market this thing, and have the biggest one ever, right? The record was back in this day. Now we're gonna have the biggest one ever. So, yeah,
Everything should always be the biggest one ever, man. That's
right.
that's how you promote it. That's beautiful, man. 14 students. I know since the year has started, man, we've been nonstop. Yeah, the first Friday of January, the second Saturday of January in Red Bluff, the third Friday of January, and now I got a weekend off, and then I get to come back the next weekend, and it's last man standing, and it's like four shows in 5 weekends, 3 different towns. I'm tired as shit, man. I'm Zack Primetime Reeb. That's the 7-foot Wrecking Ball Paul Isadora. Right down here, youtube.com/@ going over POD, baby. Watch, like, share, subscribe. Check us out at PCW. I'm golfing, getting my promotion over. I'm golfing. PCWNorcal.com. Get your tickets. Paul's got the Reno Wrestle Factory. They got the school. They got February 15th coming up. I've just really enjoyed this one right here. If you got matches, and if you don't mind a little bit of criticism, go ahead and send DM Paul, DM myself, send us something to watch. Give us some permission to critique your ass. If not, we'll see you on the next match critique, and it will be from Friday Night Prospects. Hey, everybody. Once again, I hope you enjoyed the show, because we're all going over.
See ya.